Hello, welcome to Ceramics with Miss Tomimitsu. Today I'm going to show you how to make a little hat and a mustache for your Day of the Dead skull. So I have parts here put together for my hat, and I have a leather hard. These are all leather hard, and I have a leather hard mustache as well. I'm going to sit those to the side and come back to the hat, and I'm going to get started. Okay, so first we're going to work on the hat, and I'm just going to slab some clay to start. I have a ruler on each side that indicates that I'm going to slab it out at 1/4 inch. Okay, and that's a really good measurement for the thickness of the hat. And I have my cloth, 2 sticks, 1 stick on each side, a needle tool, and a rolling pin. And eventually I'll be using a scoring tool, water, and sponge as well. So I'm going to start just by rolling. And typically when you roll, you want to stand up, okay? And my hands are on both sides of the handles here. I just zoomed in, and maybe I can zoom out so you can see, okay? And you want to roll this. You got to put some strength into it. And I always like to turn it over, but you want to push hard until the rolling pin just rolls slightly across without disruption. So I'm going to go ahead and zoom in now. And quick hack is these rulers and the metal rulers at the desks are 1 inch wide. So if you want to have an 1 inch high hat, just trace the ruler, okay? Can you give me that little black disc, little hat thing over there? And then this is the strip for the side of the hat, okay? And you'll notice, see, mine's about the same, okay? And then we have another tool in the classroom that's with the cookie cutters. Typically, it's shaped like a little black hat, okay? And we're gonna use that to trace this disc right here, okay? So I'm gonna grab that really quick. And
it's over there.
you have it? Okay. And this tool is always with the cookie cutters, okay? And we have a bunch of them around the room, and that's how I got this disc. So I'll put this disc to the side, and I'm just gonna trace this. And remember, you wanna try to utilize, save as much clay as possible. So don't just go right in the center, cut along an edge. I'm gonna take my needle tool and just trace that neatly around. And now I have this nice little disc, okay? But this is plastic, right? Would we join anything right now, class? No, okay. So, and thank you to my period 5 students for cooperating today. So right now I have that cylinder that I cut out, and I'm just gonna take the cylinder and I'm gonna cut an angle out of the cylinder. So you see, and I'm just gonna turn it like that. Okay, and then cut along here so that they line up. Do you see? And then you can score and slip, but if the clay is really plastic, and you're allowed to smear without changing the shape, you can just smear. And right now I have a little, and I'll smear inside, or I can take the wooden modeling tool and smear here inside. Okay, so I have this nice little cylinder that can be part of my hat. I have the top of my hat, but what am I missing? Or the bottom of the hat, what am I missing? The top, yeah. So now I just take the remainder of my clay, all right, that's here, and I'll take this little cylinder that I made. And you know, this is also a flange, you guys know that. So when you have a lidded project, and basically we're making a lid, a hat is just like a little lid. Hey, it is a lid for your head, right? Okay, but if you wanted a lid on a teapot, or a lid on a little, you know, vessel, it's the exact same technique, okay, that we're doing. Okay, so this would be the bottom, or the top. So the top, and then you have this, so 3 parts. Now, again, do I connect these 3 things?
No.
No, when do I connect them?
When they're leather hard.
Perfect, when they're leather hard. And do I have some leather hard pieces here?
Yes.
Yeah, so now, and they're very leather hard. They're almost getting bone dry, okay? So I'm gonna put this clay to the side because I can use this to make my mustache soon. And I'm gonna take the scoring tool in the water, and I'm just gonna score basically where I know that they're gonna connect, okay? And so I'll just score around the sides here. And another way to be for sure, if you want to know, you take this one first and actually score. And you can make a little stamp with the scoring marks onto the bigger disc that I made. So I'm going to go on both sides. You always want to score each connection. So if I'm connecting this to another piece of clay, you don't just score and slip this one, but you score and slip the other one. And this is what good scoring and slipping looks like. It almost looks like furry, okay? So I have it like that. And then if I did a little like stamp into here, you can tell where that part is, where I need to score and slip. And I go around and I score and slip. And you know, you're reintroducing water into the clay, so it is getting a little softer now. And that's a good thing, because I'm going to show you how you can give your hat a little bit of shape as well, some attitude, okay, soon. So now we've got to put on our leather hard top. And again, these are all leather hard. And how do we know? Because it doesn't have any bend really anymore in comparison to this really bendy clay. Does that make sense? So that's plastic, this is leather hard. Okay, because of the the lack of moisture that's in the leather hard piece makes it less bendy or less plastic. And I'm just going around and scoring and slipping. Okay, and again, it's got to look really furry. And you'll see those ugly scoring marks. So you're going to take those out later though, folks?
Yep. Yes.
Yeah, okay. All right, and what's the best tool to take them out with?
Finger.
Yeah, your finger. You can start, or you can use some of the wooden modeling tools, a sponge. Okay. Now I connect it and I add pressure. And I tell my students always to do this. Pinch your finger as hard as you can, and that's the amount of pressure you need. You need a lot of pressure when you're adding your appliques and joining two pieces of clay. Okay. So I'm just pushing here, and then I'll push here. Now, if I wanted to make this just a flat hat, I could take my sponge. Now, that's another tool to get rid of your scoring marks. Okay, to go around with your sponge. And I'm purposely letting a lot of water rehydrate this piece because I want to soften it up, because there's an air bubble in here, right? And eventually we will have to poke a hole to get the air out. And before you connect it to the skull will have to have a hole, and this will have to have a hole in it. However, I want to give it the hat some attitude, okay? So I can take the hat down on the table, and I'm going to remove this cloth so it doesn't stick. And I'll just take it on the table and beat it. And you see it gives the hat a little bit of an attitude, okay? And the more you do, and maybe I'll go more on one side than the other, the more attitude it gives the hat. And makes it a little bit more interesting. Would you guys agree?
Yeah.
Yeah, okay. So I like this one. It's starting to get a little cracked there because I kind of overdid it, but you just mend it, okay? And I like this hat. I think it's a fun little hat. Could you give it a little flower? Yes, no?
Yeah.
You could add a little flower. Could you give it a little feather? I had a little flower over there. You don't see it though, do you? I'm going to show you real quick. I have a little cherry blossom. Perfect, okay? So I could take this little cherry blossom applique maker. Do I need clay dust with this?
Yes.
Okay. Can I use that? Thank you, darling. So I can just take a little clay dust. I can brush that in. Okay. Thank you very much. You're awesome, Azriel. Okay. And I'll take a little pinch of clay, a little ball. And this is a little reminder of how to use these as well. When you do it, you put a little ball of clay on the applique, and I'll zoom in, and push down with something flat. Okay. Now, do you take the clay out of the applique, or do you take the applique off the clay?
Applique off the clay.
Yeah. But in this situation, you know what? It just stuck to my little flat hat. So I can just cut this off, and hopefully it comes off nicely. So with a clean needle tool, I'll just cut around. And this would be this little cherry blossom's a nice flower for around my hat, right? Mm-hmm. And again, we have feather applique makers, and we have flowers, different flowers as well. And this is still plastic, so would I apply it right away? No, okay, it'll have to be applied later, okay, once it gets a little leather hard. But could I shape it into the position I want to shape it in if it, is a little bit curled a little to go around the hat? Wouldn't that look nice? It's a nice little hat for a skull. Would you guys agree?
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay, thank you for watching. We have one more part of this video, and that's how to make a mustache. Okay, so for this, we don't want a cloth on our table. When you're rolling coils, you always want to have a clean table, no cloth and nothing in the way. And you want some good surface space. So I'm going to move this mustache that I have scoring marks in to indicate that there's some hairs on there maybe. But I'm going to clear out of the way, and I'm going to take my clean sponge. I'm going to wring it out. Or my sponge, I'll make it clean mostly. And you wipe the table, and you make the table always a little moistened. It's slick but not shiny. So then the clay doesn't dry out when you're rolling a coil. Okay, who's encountered when they try to roll a coil, it starts like cracking and getting really dried out. The hack is to have always have a moistened table. So you can just tell by the color when you add the water to the table, okay? And again, just kind of wipe it until it's not shiny. So I'm gonna start with like a little nugget of clay, and I roll the clay. And this is a little bit shiny, you can tell, or a little bit too wet, because you can tell because it's wants to roll around, right? The coil, okay? And I'm just gonna roll a coil carefully, slowly. If it gets lumpy on one side or flat on one side, you just pick it up and flatten the one side. And if it's going to be a big mustache, just for this demo, it's going to be a big fat one, okay? You just take the ends, and I kind of like to make them flush first, okay? Because to make them more even on the ends. And then just roll one end and roll the other end, okay? And you'll notice this starts to roll the rest out a little bit more, just to get a point on the ends. And I'm going to roll a little bit more. This is a giant mustache. Okay, I'm gonna have to go bigger on there. And basically, just have fun with it. You could do it like an old-timey if you want to get a real curve on there. Okay. And remember, it doesn't have to be twins on each side. They can be cousins or sisters. Okay, his mustache can have an attitude. Okay. And then so you get, for contrast's sake for the video, put it on this black disc. We have two here. And play around with it so you get the one you like. And if there's lumpy bumpies, you can smooth them while you're working, or is it better even to wait till they're leather hard and smooth them? It's up to you. And then you can go in with a scoring tool or a comb, and you can just do scratch marks, okay, to indicate hair, okay? So any questions about the hat or the mustache, folks? You're good to go? All right, go ahead, darling.
Could you make like the bottom of the hat like tinier?
Yes, yeah, and you can also, I've had students that pinch the walls of the hat instead, and they make a little pinch pot if they wanted it to be more like a feminine, like basket, like kind of, like a straw hat, or a different form. You could make this shorter if you want. That's a really good question. You could make this shorter and bring the sides up, and could it be more of like a cowboy hat?
Yeah.
Okay, so, and this could be more of an oval shape. Okay, so you can manipulate it to whatever type of hat you want it to be. But the big deal is just to make sure that it's leather hard when you connect, and just to make sure everything's really NCP. What's NCP mean again? Say it.
Nice, clean, professional.
Yeah, nice or neat, clean, professional, okay? So it looks nice. Remember, you want to make something, ideally you'll keep it, right? But you want to make something that you think other people would want to have and want to purchase. So you need to make sure to smooth everything really well and make sure there's no cracks later on. And make sure, again, it is NCP, which is? Yeah, we haven't been talking about that too much this year, have we? Okay, we'll work on that. But, yeah, all right. All right, so thank you for watching. I'm going to stop the video so you can continue working. But, you just want to give your mustache texture. And if you don't want to give your mustache texture, that's up to you. And, again, it's up to you if you want to decorate your hat. You can even add a coil or another slab around for like a ribbon. You can carve into the hat. You can give it texture as well. It's all up to you, okay? Thank you for watching. I hope you have a great day. Don't forget to like, subscribe, and smash that notification button. Thank you. Bye-bye.